What's up everybody, J810 Art here, and today we're going to be partnering up with a company called Ohuhu. They sent me a set of their 48 marker set of Ohuhu markers, and they also sent me a set of their 168 marker set of Ohuhu markers. So today we are going to be checking them out and reviewing them, so let's go. To start off, these are all the markers that they sent me. And this is how the marker looks like. They have numerous amounts of different nibs that you can purchase, such as brush tip, chisel tip, fine tip, slim broad tip, and wide broad tip. Another thing that makes these markers so great is that they are also very affordable. These markers sell in sets but also individually, but honestly I recommend purchasing them in sets because it comes out a lot more convenient. The 48 marker set of pastel markers is included with the 168 markers. Another perk that comes with purchasing a marker set is that it does come with a color swatch, and this helps you figure out what each individual color is like. So it does come in handy, so let's get to the coloring process. As you can see, today we are going to be coloring Naruto. Right off the bat, one thing that I really like about these markers is that the brush tip for these markers is very pointy, which is very helpful in creating very small details. In my opinion, comparing these to other alcohol-based markers, their brush tips are not as pointy as Ohuhu's, which makes it kind of difficult in creating small details like I said before, so Ohuhu does a really great job in doing that. Another thing about these markers is that they are also very user-friendly, which makes it very helpful, especially if you want to get into art and learning how to color. These are a great start to begin with because it's pretty easy to learn how to use them, and you can also create really amazing art at the same time. While I was using these markers, I was noticing that the brush tip was very soft to use, so that was something that I really liked. Also, while I was coloring Naruto, I was using the color swatch. I just didn't show it on camera, but I was using the color swatch because honestly it comes in handy so much. Another thing about these markers is that they blend very well, and they also dry quickly once you apply it to the paper. Surprisingly, I was a pretty big fan of the colorless blender. In the past I've used different colorless blenders, but this one just felt a lot different, and I feel like part of that is because the touch of the brush tip is very gentle and soft, which is something that I stated previously that I really liked. For this particular drawing, I tried finding a reference that had a variety of colors, which is very convenient because Ohuhu also has numerous amounts of different colors and shades. They even had colors that I did not even realize could be part of a marker set, which were blue gray or green gray or even yellow gray, red gray, which all I can say is that I'm pretty impressed with that. For this drawing, I'm going to be using some colors that fall under the color blue, green, red, gray, orange. I'm using these colors to kind of give you an idea of what the colors are like, because if I were to do a simple drawing with not that many colors, you wouldn't really have an idea of what the colors are actually like. So I'm using this reference in particular because it has a lot of those colors. Also, if you haven't already, smash the like button if you like Naruto, and if you want to see more Naruto drawings, or if you want to see more Ohuhu content, let me know in the comments, and also smash the like button to let me know. I would appreciate that. Also, if you want to purchase some Ohuhu markers, check the link in the description. I'm going to be leaving a link to their website so you can purchase them. I would recommend that you purchase them because Ohuhu markers are really awesome. Also, they are a lot cheaper than other brands like Copics, and to be honest, they give out pretty much the same quality just for a cheaper price. It can't get better than that. While I was using the markers, I did notice that the markers are actually very vibrant, which is something that I'm a really big fan of. And it's all based on personal preference. I just really like vibrant colors because it helps my drawing look a lot more colorful and vivid. Also, I don't even know if I mentioned this, but this is the first time that I'm using Ohuhu markers, and I'm actually really loving them. I actually started off using alcohol-based markers with a different brand called Blick Illustrator markers, but then I moved to their higher version of their markers, which is Blick Studio markers, and then I moved on to using Copics, which now I'm a big fan of Blick Studio markers, Copics, and Ohuhu markers now that I'm trying them. The funny thing is that the first brand that I knew about alcohol-based markers was Copic markers, and to be honest, that was the only known one that I knew. And then I started getting a lot more informed with alcohol-based markers and knowing that there is so many more that I could explore. And once I started exploring, I did start hearing a lot more about Ohuhu markers, which made me very interested and always wanted to try them out but never got to it. And I always, every single time, heard great things about Ohuhu markers, how they're the best, cheapest markers out there. And now that I'm actually getting hands-on experience, I totally agree with that statement. I feel like this company genuinely cares about what they represent. You can also kind of see that with their prices because it makes it kind of seem like they want everybody to be a part of it and feel included in making people feel like everyone can draw. Which is true, everyone can learn how to make art and produce art. It just takes time and practice and passion to learn how to do it. So if you want a brand that you want to be your go-to, then this is the brand because they genuinely care. Going back to the drawing, I did blend a little too much and it did spread the marker out, so that's something that you should be wary of, to not blend too much because it will make the marker spread out. And now I'm starting to color Kid Naruto. By the way, I've said this multiple times, but I chose to do Naruto because Naruto was the whole reason why I started getting into drawing. And I usually always draw him every time I hit like a new milestone. And for this instance, it was because this is my first partnership ever. And I'd like to thank Ohuhu for letting me be a part of this. I genuinely appreciate it very much from the bottom of my heart. And maybe even one day we can even do another partnership. That would honestly be something that I would look forward to. I just want to say, if you want to get into art, don't be afraid to get into art, because you will always find someone that will find the similar passion as you. So don't be afraid to try something out. And if you don't get something right the first time, that's okay. Just get back up and try again. I remember when I first started out drawing, I was not good at it at all, but I never gave up and I kept going because I genuinely had an interest in it. I remember when I started posting on social media, every now and then I would get a hate comment saying that I could not draw, which was honestly true, but that's okay because I was still learning. So honestly, I did not pay any mind to them because one day I knew that I was going to be good at this because I kept on practicing and getting better every single time that I started drawing. And now I got a partnership with Ohuhu, so that just goes to show to not give up. But back to the drawing, we are almost done with the second Naruto. I am currently coloring his collar, but in a bit I'm going to start getting more into a lot more vibrant colors. As you can see, I'm using kind of a pinkish color like the one I used on his cape. And now I'm transitioning to a darker color to show the shadows. And now I'm using a colorless blender to soften it out. Every time you want to soften something out, I would recommend using the colorless blender because I feel like it really gets the job done. Or if you're using a particular color, let's say for example the color blue, since I'm using it right now, you can always use the lighter blue and go over it to make it softer. One thing that I haven't addressed yet about Ohuhu markers is that you do not need a lot of layering to get the certain color right. And I feel like for other markers you have to layer a lot, which wastes a lot more ink. So I really like this aspect of Ohuhu markers. Another aspect that I really like for these markers is that when you layer, it does not look patchy, and I feel like for some markers it does end up looking patchy, which does not end up making the drawing look good. So that's one aspect that I really like. And now I'm coloring Naruto's ninja sandals. By the way, if you've seen Naruto, you know how iconic that swing is. It's been in the show for so many flashbacks, it's insane, but it's so iconic. Once I'm done with his sandals, I'm going to be moving on to his jacket. And now we are moving on to his jacket. And this is going to be one of those colors which is a lot more vibrant than the rest. Like I said previously, I am a big fan of vibrant colors. The colors are not overly saturated, which ends up making the colors look nice. As stated previously, right here, I am layering the color. And I'm not overly layering the colors, to be honest. And it still does not look patchy, which is a good sign. Also, if you want to learn how to blend alcohol-based markers, I have a video on that. So if you want to check it out, It's going to be in the top right corner, so check it out. And if you want to see more Naruto drawings, check out my Naruto drawing playlist. It's going to be in the description. And if you just want to see more of my drawings in general, I have a lot of drawing playlists in the description, so check it out. PS, I would highly recommend that you do. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it, and share this video with your friends and tell them to subscribe. It helps out with the channel massively. And like I said before, smash the like button again. We are almost done with the jacket, so we are going to move on to the pants in a bit. And right here, I'm just refining the colors. I'm trying to make it look as smooth as possible. Like I said before, you do not want your colors to look patchy because it'll end up making your drawing look bad. And toward the bottom, I'm adding another layer just to show a nice gradient. And I'm doing the same to the other side. And now I'm adding some darker values. And now I'm using a lighter color over it to soften it out. And I'm going to be using a colorless blender to show some lighter areas. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to be moving on to the pants. The pants should be pretty easy since we already know what colors to use. Also, like I said previously, Ohuhu markers have a very nice vibrant color to them. And you can see that with the jacket so far. It is very vibrant, but it's not overly saturated. So I really like that. If I were to compare Ohuhu markers to Copic markers, I would say that Ohuhu markers are a lot more vibrant than Copics. So if you like vibrant colors, then I would definitely recommend checking out Ohuhu markers. And if you haven't already noticed with this drawing that I'm doing, it is definitely seen. And right here, I'm going to be coloring with a darker value. And after we're done with that, we're going to be moving on to showing some lighter areas to the pants. And once we're done with that, we're going to be moving on with the swing, which is around the same color as his collar. And now that I'm done with the swing, I'm going to be moving on to the tree trunk. For this tree trunk, I'm going to be using some gray values. As you can see, I'm starting off with a darker gray value, and then I'm going to slowly start to transition to a lighter value and go over the darker value with it. One thing about Ohuhu markers is that if you want to purchase a pack, then I would definitely recommend getting a larger set, just so you can have a lot more variety to the colors. Or if you just want a 48 set to start off, then that's okay as well. Especially if you're kind of like a beginner, then that's a perfect way to do it. Every time I color with alcohol-based markers, I usually always have a pattern when I color. When there's areas that you want to blend and there aren't any sharp edges, I usually start off with a darker color. That way I can just go over it with the lighter color. I feel like that just makes it a whole bunch easier because you don't have to waste time doing the base layer and then adding the darker values and then having to go over it with a lighter color or a colorless blender to blend it out. And also, you just save more ink. Also, if you've been following along, I haven't been a big fan of the colorless blender until right now, using these Ohuhu markers, and I've been using them to create lighter edges or even soften out certain areas, and also use them when there's light hitting an object. And now I'm going to be moving on to the more fluorescent area of the tree, which are the leaves. And as you can see right here, I'm using a very vibrant kind of yellow greenish color. Not gonna lie, I did struggle a bit with this part because I am not used to coloring leaves or even drawing trees, as a matter of fact. But at the end of the day, I just went with the flow and just did what felt right. In my opinion, it is important to be confident as an artist and to just do what you know what to do best, and also to just let loose and experiment and have fun with it to the best of your ability. And once we're done with the base layer, I'm going to be starting to add some darker values. And now I'm adding some darker values. At first glance, it looks kind of messy, but just trust the process. I'm going to end up blending it later on. I feel like that's also a really important thing to remember, to just trust the process, because if you just get too strict on yourself, then you're not going to perform to the best of your ability. If you've been noticing, I've been adding darker and darker values every time that I do a new layer, and that's because in a tree there's a lot of shadows and a lot of different values because there's a large amount of leaves, but that honestly depends on what type of tree it is. And again, I'm starting to add a lot more darker values. As you can see, the colors are really starting to mesh well together. You start to notice that there's some darker values, some lighter values. Also, I'm doing a lot of dotted shapes with different kinds of values. There's some light dots, some dark dots. And now I'm using the colorless blender to make some lighter dots. And once we're done with that, we are going to be moving on to the next part. This is going to be the last part of the drawing, which is just coloring the surface. And after I'm done with the surface, I'm going to be adding some small details. For this part, I'm using the chisel tip because it covers a lot more ground. No pun intended. And the chisel tip for Ohuhu markers is pretty much a standard chisel tip nib. I would say it feels just like Copic markers chisel tip. And I'm going to be adding the shadow that goes underneath both young Naruto and Hokage Naruto. After I'm done with that, I'm going to be using a colorless blender to soften out the edges. And now I'm using the colorless blender to blend out the edges. Also makes it blend in well with the paper itself. And after we're done with that, we're going to be adding some small details. Now I'm starting to add some grass. And this is a reason why I really like the brush tip, because like I said previously, it helps create really small details and it ends up coming super in handy. And we are done with the drawing. Hopefully you enjoyed as much as I did. I had a lot of fun making this drawing, and I'm super honored to be a part of this partnership with Ohuhu, and hopefully we can even do another partnership one day. I would definitely look forward to that. Like I said earlier, if you want to get Ohuhu markers, I'm going to be leaving a link to their website in the description, so definitely check it out. And here is the final product. Hopefully you enjoyed as much as I did. I had a lot of fun making this drawing, and thank you so much once again, Ohuhu, for letting me be a part of this. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it, and share this video with your friends and tell them to subscribe. It helps out with the channel massively. But yeah, everybody, hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to stay safe, and until next time, everybody, peace.